Yasmin. Am I audible back there? Yes? Great. Hello, Dubai. I can't see you guys too much, but hopefully you guys can see me very clearly. I know my name is not Shobhit. My name is Mrigank Tripathi. Yasmin has already let the cat out of the bag, but I'll call Shobhit in just a bit. I thought what we'll do is, very clearly the code is quite an important one. But before we move on, if all of you could just please scan this. It's an important one because we're actually launching this shortly, which is the talent management landscape in Middle East. We continue to do these surveys and reports. If you do this, you'll also get an opportunity to be part of the overall survey. We'll also understand what's exactly happening, and you guys can get featured, and you'll of course get the report as well. Yeah. Okay. Now that the phones are down, I'll move on from here. So what we thought we'll do is we'll talk a bit about a successful HR digital transformation in MENA. I don't know how many of you actually know about PeopleStrong, so I'm just going to take you very, very quickly through what we really are. We're one of Asia's largest HR technology companies, work with about 500 plus customers across Asia, India, Middle East, Southeast Asia, 2 million plus users, very high on the talent score, very well regarded in the Gartner Peer Insights. This is what your compatriots or HR users have actually rated us on, so absolute top quadrant from a usability perspective. But I think where we really, really take the cake is on the employee side of things. So at 4.6 rated by employees, and this is not just me saying, this is with about 50,000 plus reviews. So if you look at some of the other folks who we compete with, that's really where we're at. Now, some of our customers have actually been looking for multiple things, and this is really what our overall platform provides. We are one of the most comprehensive HRMS companies, modular enough to fill the gaps, proven solution in the region, globally, in-house implementation, and a fairly robust structure from an overall perspective. I don't want to talk to you about, I don't want this to become much more of a pitch. These are some of the clients that we work with. Some UAE logos also you can actually see over here, Middle Eastern logos. We work with them quite frequently. But I wanted to talk a bit more about this in the next slide. The way that we've looked at HR transformation is that a lot of companies over here have got different types of problems. Somebody is just moving from a pen and paper towards a core HR system, where how do I get all the data up? But others, and a majority of you, already have your core HR in place, and you're actually struggling on the strategic HR, which could be talent acquisition, which could be talent management, maybe also payroll, but definitely experience, employee experience. That's how we've looked at the whole transformation journey. And over time, over the past year or so, our transformation partnerships have been increasing in the Middle East. And we've seen two things happen, two types of approaches. The first is the bolt-on guys. Right? I already have an SAP system. I already have an Oracle system. I already have my core already there. But I'm struggling on performance. But I'm struggling on recruitment. But I'm struggling on X. These are the companies who have already invested into legacy systems, right? These are the ones who are already locked in by vendors. And these are the reasons why people go for bolt-on solutions, right? You have complexities around multi-geography, and you don't want to, rock the base effectively. Inertia around moving the core. Or that you just want to have a better system for a specific function, right? You're able to do that. And these are some of the companies that we work with on the bolt-on side of things. And these are all Middle Eastern companies, right? So if you look at Noman Air, KPMG Saudi Arabia, Sinomi Saudi Arabia again, Transom, or Fly Dubai, all of them have taken a specific module of ours and bolted it onto what they actually had. And one of these reasons is the relevance. The second transformative journey is a completely replacement journey, right? Replacement is why do people want to replace their existing HR tech system? And these are some of the reasons, right? Too much manual intervention of HR. Damn it, I need to take out data from here and upload it into that system. I need to take out data from here and do a pivot to be able to figure out what exactly is happening. Too much of manual intervention, right? Multiple systems which have been built over time. Different people came, different things came up, and you just kept on integrating all of them over time. Data calibration issues. One of the biggest reasons why companies are moving towards a complete replacement system is that you don't have one singular system which can actually take over, right? Integration and report issues. Reporting is a cardinal thing that every HR person does, And if you're facing problems over there, it'll continue to hound you, right? And business needs a leg up, right? You just want to be better. And these are all the companies that we work with. So Safir was here on the stage before this. He's a PeopleStrong customer. Life, Axiom, Tamkeen, Schneider, Prime, and Alamar, all of them have actually looked at a replacement strategy because of one of these reasons. Now, I can continue, but I don't want to because I think it'll just be blowing our own trumpet. I don't want to do that. I would much rather actually now call Shobhit, if you could just come up on stage. Shobhit is the Chief Digital Officer for Alamar Foods, and they actually partnered with us over time, and they went through a specific cycle. More importantly, this is not about PeopleStrong. I wanted him to just talk about how they've actually thought through this and gone about doing this. Shobhit, please come up, please.
Thank you. Standing here, you hear your own voice. I didn't realize it. Thank you. Thanks for having me here. So I represent Alamar Foods, and what do we do in the region? Very, very quickly. So we manage two top brands, Domino's Pizza and Dunkin' Donuts, across the Middle East, North Africa, and Pakistan region. And I'll tell you a little bit more about it as we'll progress. Our vision is to be the #1 food company in the region, and that's what we aspire to do. And how does this vision translates into different departments and different strategies is something that I'll not bother you with today, but more importantly, we call our HR as P&C, People and Culture, and that is something that we changed close to around 2 years ago when we realized that the HR is not just about human resource, but it is also about how do we build the culture around that human resource. And that is why we kind of changed this perspective for us and the perspective for all our employees as well, wherein we wanted to clearly say that we are about people and we are about the culture that we build around them. It basically has three pillars: process, policies, and the product. The product is the technology. Okay, how do we optimize the technology for all the processes and all the policies that we here to implement? And then it is about the other, streamlining our P&C processes, which are, as you can imagine, that we work across 11 countries in the Middle East, from North Africa all the way up to Pakistan, with more than 5,000 odd employees, a lot of diversity. So we have a lot of processes and a lot of different variants to do in different countries. Communication is the key, and in our kind of business, it is even more important, and I'll talk more about it as we go. Regulatory frameworks are different in different countries. We have to manage that, and then informed decisions that we have to take based on the data, and the data which should be able to be provided through one single platform. So these are all our priorities. As you see, we operate in 11 or 12 odd markets, 5,000 plus employees, 600 plus stores, close to around 700 now, getting to 30 plus nationalities. And therefore it becomes more and more, and as we keep expanding into more markets, it just becomes more and more complicated if we have diversified portfolio of different processes. So what are the QSR challenges? Mobile workforce. So this is common to across all QSR. I mean, there was a recent report that showed that more than 54% of the employees in a QSR industry changes over the 6 months period. That's the level of attrition that is there in a business like ours. Very, very high employee turnover, especially at the bottom level, at the level of the drivers, the insiders, the people who work in our stores. Learning and development, this is another very, very difficult part in our kind of industry, because you have got different languages, different values, different culture, the way that the people have to be taught, and the different teaching that has to be done for different levels. So we also have a kind of a passport program wherein you kind of learn one thing, and a lot of people are multi-skilled and they have to be taught the skills at different levels at different times and in different languages and by different people. So it all has to tie up together. Versatility in skills and operation requirement, incentives, this is a big one. So as you can imagine that there cannot be one incentive policy that works from the CEO up to the driver, because at some places the incentives has to be paid out immediately, and in some cases the incentives can be paid out after a month, and in other cases the incentives can be paid out at an annual level. So therefore, how do we manage all of this? How do we manage a real-time visibility for the people to know that this is how much incentive that I've been able to earn today, and this is what I'm going to be able to earn by the end of the month. So all of these things has to be tied together. Payroll-driven numerous shifts, people do not work in one shift, regulatory compliances, and segregated performance programs, because again, the performance of somebody who's working in the store can be evaluated over 3 months, and somebody who's working in a corporate has to be evaluated over 6 months and 360-degree and over the period of 1 year. So a lot of different things that has to happen across, because we are not, in a QSR industry is not one type of people who are working across the spectrum, but there are different types. So all of these has to be tied up. So solving these challenges, there are few key things that we have to do. Number one is attract and retain the best talent. Stay connected at all times. This is one of the key things that if you look at any of the surveys in for especially in the QSR industry, you would find that most people are, if they are not satisfied, they're not satisfied because they have not been communicated with. And communication becomes really, really big challenge in an industry like ours. So how do we remain connected all times? How do we bring the diversity and inclusion in our workforce? Distinctive employee experiences, that also comes through different values, different cultures. Continuous feedback and improvement, how can we provide that? So what are the key areas of impact? How do we do this? So one part of it is enhanced employee experience. How do we enhance it? By bringing process efficiencies. And this is where our technology has to play a big role, and that is where the HR and the technology works very, very closely together, so that we are able to provide faster feedback, faster responses to our employees. Transparency and belongingness. I mean, if you think about it, one of the very simple things that the employee would expect is to have the salary slip on their mobile immediately after the salary has been credited to their account. They want to know what is the breakup of what I got. And that level of transparency is as basic as it seems. In most of the companies may not be available. So those things are important. Basic, building trust with our overall corporate, and growth and development, securing the talent and managing our modules. Cost and effort management. I mean, no matter how much that we try to talk about the best things that we have to do, but of course we have to also ensure that we are able to manage the cost around it. You can't have too many different applications and too much costs associated with everything. So replacing the old technology, we wanted to have a single source of truth and highly configurable application, because as much as you will try to replace your current diversified HR applications, but yet they will still have to work with and configured with many other things that you are having in the system. You'll have to still configure it with CRM, you'll have to still configure it with many other things. So for example, if you want to do a correlation analysis on a store which has got a lot of customers who are satisfied versus the employee satisfaction versus the sales growth. So if the employees are satisfied, you are hoping that the customers will be satisfied, and if the customers are satisfied, you are hoping that the sales will be good. But how do you do this correlation analysis unless your system is able to speak to each other and have the data centralized in one place? So those are things which are important. And continuous process improvement. How do we continue to have feedback from our employees on a regular basis, and the agility and scalability of our products. So this is where the strategic approach and the technology intervention comes together. So what you got to see is attract and retain right talent, which is the strategic approach, and how does technology enables it, which is the AI-enabled comprehensive lifestyle employee life cycle management. Stay connected. We got to have a good mobile app, which is not so heavy, which the people can use all the time, and which the people can use it for a chat. So one of the concerns that many of us always face is that the chat is always available with everyone, which is WhatsApp, which could be Teams, which could be so many other. But all of these comes with its own challenges. For example, if you allow the people to have a WhatsApp conversation, which means that you have to open up the system to too many different things, right? So you want to keep the conversation within the environment of your corporate, and that becomes challenge, but you can resolve it by providing Teams chat. But Teams chat will have to get associated with everybody who has an email ID. Now, if somebody doesn't have that, then you will have another problem. So those are the kind of challenges that one has to resolve. Diversity and inclusiveness through reporting and analytics, and distinctive employee experience that we have to do through efficient, systematic processes. Somehow the technology is not moving. Okay, there you go. So we had to do a selection for our HR partner, and these are all the things that we had in consideration. Number one, this has to be a single source of truth for all employees, not just corporate employees or store employees or any other. It had to be the single source of truth where all the employee information across all employees comes together and sit at one place. Comprehensive and configurable application, because it still has to speak, as I was saying, to our CRM platform, to other platform. Better user experience, which is our employee experience. Enhanced communication, this was very, very critical for us. We had to make sure that every employee, be it a driver, be it a CEO, should be able to speak to this application. Should be able to speak to each other without moving out of the application. Highly developed reporting and analytics capability, integration with our existing systems, a strong management, somebody who is able to guide us and help us, and also has the experience across different industries, and that is something that we were looking at. Maximize our ROI, cash was always a big consideration, a known brand, and continuously evolving technology. So before we jumped on to what we did with PeopleStrong, so this was what our framework looked like, okay? And I'm sure that in many of the companies can kind of correlate to this. So we had Oracle EBS, we had Manatal for application tracking, we had Culture App for performance management and appraisals, we had Glint for employee experience, we had and some other applications for attendance and so on and so forth. On top of it, we were still missing quite a few activities, which were like compensation and benefit, reporting and analytics, time and attendance, learning development, talent management, mobile application for the employees to be able to speak to each other. So in spite of having 6 or 7 different apps, which we all had to maintain and which we all had to ensure that they speak to each other, in spite of all that, we were still missing quite a lot of HR functions which were not there. And this is what usually happens when you are a growing company, and we were growing so fast that we had an urgent need of appraisal system. Okay, we went and bought and took over the best appraisal system. We took the best feedback system. But then at one point of time, you will realize that there are just too many applications, and you have to maintain and make sure that all of them starts to speak to each other, which is a very, very difficult project in itself. So this is where we felt that PeopleStrong had a very, very strong proposal to have, which was we had a proven track record, very solid credentials. They have been working in the region across very, very different diversified portfolio. So that was very helpful. And the best part is that all our needs came together in one place. So whether it is talent sourcing, onboarding, core HR functions, collaboration, learning and development. Genie is a big one, is a interesting one, which is the chat option, wherein it is the AI chat option, wherein the employees don't have to really speak to somebody, but rather some of the information they can simply chat with Genie, and Genie itself is responsive to on certain frequently asked questions, so to speak. So those kind of things are all inbuilt, and the payroll expenses and everything. A very interesting conversation that I was having with PeopleStrong in my last meeting was that how do we also make sure that so today if your employees have to go, today, at least in our case, if our employee has to go and submit an expense, what do we tell them? Go to ERP. If we had to we had to tell them that you have to, put in your OKRs, where do we tell? We tell them go to Culture app, and we tell them go to this app, go to that app. But now what we have done is that what we are calling this whole thing is it has been branded as My Alamar. And even the URL is myalamar.peoplestrong.alamar. So basically for every small little thing or every big thing, whether it is from appraisal or expenses or payroll or anything, what you communicate with your employees is, what we are communicating with our employees is, you have to register it in My Alamar. You have to register this in My Alamar. You have to submit your expenses in My Alamar, and you can also have your appraisals in the platform called My Alamar. So you can rebrand this, and a lot of other companies have done the same, whether it is Oman Air or many others. So they have also done the same. So this is again interesting stuff, which is another leverage to build the equity of the brand with the employees. So, so that's it. It's a journey. We have just started. We haven't completely rolled it out. We are in the process of doing it, and the process so far is going well. And we need to, attract and retain the top industry talent. That's what we achieve that's what we plan to do, and that's the key enabler for us. So, thank you. Thanks for listening to me, and that's about it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So a couple of questions. If anybody has a question, then I will hold mine. But if somebody wants to ask a question, please just raise your hand. We'll call on you. But in the meantime, Shobhit, I do have a question for you. This has clearly been we've been interacting for a fairly long time. I wanted to understand from you, and this is a question that I wanted to ask a lot of times. What was point zero for the organization to say, hey, we need to change? Because when we had started, we were talking about performance and something else. And then I remember there was a meeting where we said, no, we just need to change. What happened?
So I think a couple of things. First of all, we are a very fast expanding company. So today as I said, that we operate two brands, Domino's Pizza and Dunkin' Donuts. In the last 5 years, we have more than doubled our strength. So, and that's what is expected to happen over the next 2 years as we go now. Besides, only last year we also got listed. So we are now a listed company in the Saudi Stock Exchange. So I think that we were growing very fast, and we were stuck with some of the legacy products. And in the process, while we were growing, we also added quite a lot of different products, which were in its own space doing very well, but it was not helping the environment overall. And still we were missing quite a lot, as I was explaining. So I think that at one point we had to put a stop to say that, okay, we cannot add one more application for compensation and benefits. We have to look at the whole thing as a strategy overall, and rethink about how do we want to shape it for the upcoming 10 years rather than resolving the problem for the next 6 months. So that is where we said that, okay, we'll have to take a step back. We actually took almost a year finalizing with whom that we will go with.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I know that it took well over a year to do that. But thank you so much for placing your faith in us. One other question. We're on this journey, and the culmination of the journey from where the real usage and everything will start is around the corner. From your worldview, what's going to change? What do you expect to happen after this digital transformation in the HR space is finished for Alamar?
I think for us, there are two very, very important takeouts. Number one is the employee satisfaction. I think that our employee satisfaction, we are hoping it to really, really escalate post this, because as I said, to remain connected with 5,000 people across 12 countries is not easy. And that is where, a lot of dissatisfaction can also come in, and a lot of, other things then translates into attrition and so on and so forth. So I think that improved employee satisfaction would be one thing. And the second is about analytics and insights. We took a lot of time building our, for example, budgets. Okay, so because the data is spread across so many different places, just to bring it all together at one place and do the analysis on it for us to be able to do the predictive about what's next used to take so much more time. Now with all the data coming together and the HRMS speaking to our data lake, which is on Redshift, AWS, with all of this coming together, we expect ourselves to be having a very, very strong analytics dashboard, which should be able to help us to take a lot of good informed decisions.
Fantastic. Great. I think we're up on time. Any questions at all? No, we'll take, okay, there is one question. Yes, please. Can we get a mic across to somebody?
Thank you, everyone. My name is Farhan, and I wanted to ask a question to Shobhit as well. How was the offboarding experience for your client when it came to getting off all the old platforms that they were using, all the different platforms that they were using? And for you, how was the onboarding experience when it came to PeopleStrong altogether?
A great question, a little premature because we are still in the process. So we are still experiencing it. I think that so far it is going very smooth. The onboarding is happening smoothly. But just to, I think I can give it with a different example because we have just recently shifted a few of our applications, okay? And the important thing is about what would be the buy-in from your employees and the experience of the employees, okay? If the experience is good, the new experience is good, the whole process will go very, very smoothly. If the new experience is very complicated and if the shift is also very complicated, then of course you will neither have a buy-in and therefore you will also have a lot of issues going forward. So, and then you will have issues not only immediate transformation but even long term. So I think that the employee to ensure that you have taken care of that employee satisfaction while you are translating from one application to the other, that would be the key, and that's what we are experiencing right now as we go.
But Shobhit, just to sort of extend that a bit, I know that there are also some internal policies and everything which you guys have said, no, just remove this, make it smoother and stuff. How was that taken internally?
So internally, I think that for us, it is, so we are also shifting in phases. So not all processes are going to be shifted in one go. So the core HR process will be the starting point. And then there are some pain points that we are going to address first because that is absolutely new. For example, the attendance and payroll, and that is something which was not compensation and benefit, which was not there. So once we start to build the confidence on the new system, slowly, then the old systems will keep on getting replaced.
Totally great. Thank you so much, Shobhit. Thank you, folks. Thanks for being a very attentive audience, and hopefully that got you a bit of a framework on how to do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.